And welcome to Hairdressing Live. I am so happy to have Dylan Bradshaw feature on Hairdressing Live today. I've followed Dylan's career for many years and had a successful one. And listen, congratulations last night as well on the Image Award, Best Hairdresser of the Year, which is amazing. I was in that category myself. I didn't get it. But yeah.
It's a great way to start off.
It's a great way to start, isn't it? But listen, look, can you just tell me, a lot of hairdressers out there know Dylan Bradshaw. They know the team, it's the successes and everything like that. But could you just tell us a little bit about your career for those people that may not know everything about Dylan Bradshaw?
I started off my career when I was 15. Basically I wasn't getting on very well in school, so my mum kind of thought it was a good idea for me to get a job as a hairdresser. So I went into the local Peter Mark salon, and that was kind of it really. I got a haircut. She didn't tell me they lined me up a job, so the manager came over to me and said to me, "I believe you want to do hairdressing." And I was like, what? But I just remember like these gorgeous looking girls half naked working in the salon. I said I'd really love a go with that. The hairdressing, I mean.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
But that's how it started for me. I was never passionate about it. It was not something that was in my mind. It was just, I worked really hard at it. I was like two left hands and just kind of built into it. But I come from a family of grafters. So 15. But I got kicked out of school then a year and a half later, so that was it. I had no choice. That was my career. Okay. In the house that we grew up in, it was like you had to have a trade was the thing, So that's my agent, by the way. Just
very good. It's live television,
exactly,
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So listen, so you started Peter Mark. When did you start Peter Mark?
I started Peter Mark when I was 15. I went to Leary Shopping Centre and kind of worked my way up there. Worked for them till I was 21, and went away for a while. Worked in New York, kind of just learning the ropes, which was amazing because I did a stint out there, but I just really learned an awful lot about the service industry. That's what kind of really took for me.
How long were you working there?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you work in?
I worked in Bumble and Bumble for a time, but it was it's a weird one. It was kind of like the hairdressing at the time was good, but you come from an Irish background or if like a British background or whatever, you kind of can see good hairdressing. You know what it's about. It's mostly all expats out there that are leading the way, but what I really took from it was the service industry. That's what I really came back to, and in my head it was like, okay, whatever I do, I want to make it all about the service and the experience, and just to kind of really kind of bowl people over with it, just a nice.
More phones. Is that your agent?
Can't get through on the first phone. Has to go on the other one. Yeah.
But no, that is. I totally agree. There's a couple of friends of mine that work in the States, and it's all about service, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think for America, I think they have led the way in like many ways in service and customer service and everything. I think it's absolutely incomparable, really. But the hairdressing is different over there, though, isn't it?
It is, but the irony of it is, it wouldn't be my style of hairdressing, let's say, right? But and everyone's their own. But the thing that I really took from it was there's a really great sense of artistry. If you go to your hairdresser in America, you have respect for them. I find in Ireland and the UK, it's not the same. It drives me insane, in fact, actually, that we're not taken serious enough as a career.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started hairdressing for the first probably 10 years, if somebody asked me what was my job, I'd nearly become, I'm a hairdresser, because there's association with, not being educated or not being good at what you think, and it's a kind of a half-arsed career, which is not the case, and that drives me insane. And I think we're a little bit, ourselves as being Irish, we tend to think that way sometimes and not actually push ourselves a lot more and say, actually we are bloody good. And I travel all over the world doing this job, and let me tell you, Ireland is a very good, very high standard place for hairdressing.
I totally agree. Even this year, Ireland won away with the two international awards with Wella and L'Oreal, which was amazing.
Exactly,
you won away with your team.
Went over and won the L'Oreal Colour Trophy in Ireland, which was great. Which, in fairness, it's something that we're really, I'd like to say that we are consistent at doing. We've won it 4 times, the women's. We've won the men's 3 times. We've been runner-up 2 or 3 times as well. It's something that we've kind of, we're good at doing. But at the same time, we took it to Lisbon, and they won. A team won. Jenny and Aoife won the Colour Trophy International, and they won the category of Best Colour as well. So it was an amazing, to be recognised. I think it was something like 120 countries or something at it. So it was amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was great.
My God, my God. Congratulations for that as well. I mean,
Thanks,
look,
Dave.
you've huge amounts of accolades over your career. I mean, you could only, I mean, any salon would be very, very proud of. Listen, can you, I mean, you do a lot of education. You have traveled the world doing education and everything. What does education mean to you and your team, like for Dillon Bradshaw?
I think it's just trying to ignite something inside of somebody that they just switches them on, you know, that they go, actually, I get it now. It doesn't have to be all like, it's funny, I'm getting older now, I'm 44, and I'm actually respecting hairdressing in a different way, where, you know, when I was younger, I was so driven about it had to be a certain look and it had to look a certain way, but as you get older, you kind of understand. For me, it's a bit like if you come into Dillon Bradshaw for a haircut, the whole idea about the haircut is that it's to grow out well, they wash it, they leave it, they don't think about it, and that's something as an industry we probably don't get, generally speaking. I think a lot of people just cut like it's like, oh, the lawn needs a cut, and so somebody says, oh, it's getting long, cut it back up, rather than, you know, making a shape that suits somebody's face, shape, lifestyle, you know, all that sort of stuff. So you got to take all that into consideration, and that you are actually like an architect. So the funny thing is now is that, like, I'm going to today, even when we're doing the education, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to make a really kind of beautiful cut that grows out well, but with like minimum effort. And that's the whole idea. It's to try and teach somebody nearly the shortcuts, how to get a great kind of result. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not going to sit here and take 20 sections and you know, take it in different ways. I just want to bring it back to the basics. And the whole idea with the cut today is it's like 70s inspired, like what we said on the promo. But the nice thing about it is that it's really wearable. The problem with layering hair is it deconstructs hair. So the problem with layering hair sometimes is the hair never sits the same 2 days in a row. But the idea with this layer is that you wash it, you leave it, you forget about it, it sits, or if you blow dry it, it sits, it works, and it's balanced every day. So it's just trying to bring back the basics and trying to bring back a very wearable. And at the end of the day, if someone comes into the salon and they're paying 200 quid for a haircut with me, they have to get value out of it. It doesn't mean about cutting it short, it just means it has to be wearable for as long as they need to wear it, and that they don't have to think about it.
Oh my gosh, very good. I can't wait, actually. That was one of my questions, actually. Tell us about the course. So you've nailed that realistically.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, for learning, I mean, the key learning aspects to this course, you know, is it for all levels, or? I mean,
yeah, totally.
You know, I mean, I suppose when even like an assistant was to come along and look at this haircut, what advice can you give them? I mean, we've always sort of said, you know, practice, learn it, and practice it, you know, 20, 30 times to make sure that you perfect something, you know. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, like, to be honest with you, you have to, it's, you know, I remember when I started off, I used to burn ears or cutting apes, and, you know, you did all the stuff they were. My poor grandmother used to be my guinea pig, and in those days you have to do the twist bush blow dries, and she'd be like, getting burnt all the way through it, and she'd be afraid to kind of, because the teacher would be coming down, did he? No, he didn't, with throbbing red ear, literally. But no, I think we have to make mistakes. That part of anything in business and education and life, we make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I just have to try and get better. If I'm sitting here on the couch telling you how great everything is, I'm talking rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So.
Listen, could you just tell us? I mean, what do you think of what Hairdressing Live can bring to the industry for all levels?
I think it's a great. That's the reason why I'm here today. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a very positive thing to bring to the industry. I'm all for making our industry better. That's it in a nutshell. I think it's a great way that you can get into people's homes, you know, you can and touch them in a way that you can say, look, here's a different way of doing hair. It's, you know, it's not that expensive. It gives you an insight into maybe people that you read about in magazines or you see in, you know, on TV or whatever it is, as in how they do their hairdressing. But actually, you get to, you know, watch them live, creating the work. And I would think it's great that you can contact them while they're doing it and ask questions and see what the story is. I think for me, that you know, like everything, you know, knowledge is power. It's the most important thing in our industry. And the negative side to what we do in our industry is to stop learning, because, you know, we're in fashion. You've got to try and improve in what you do. And this technique is a technique that I came up with a few years ago. But it's actually funny, because if I teach this to a hairdresser of 30 years, I teach this to a hairdresser of 3 years, they'll all get something from it. But one thing you've guaranteed, and that's why I always think about you have to get value for money, is everybody that watches this today will actually go, God, I never thought of that. I'm not definitely going to use that in salon tomorrow. And that's the most important thing, so that you come away and saying, actually, there's a technique there that I've never used before, but it's so beneficial to all the type of clients that come into the salon. So it doesn't have to be about long hair, it doesn't have to be about short hair, it can be any type of hair. And that's why this technique is, for me, I think it's one of the smartest kind of tricks that you can use and apply to a haircut, and do it in any type of haircuts, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. So I can I'll be taking little tips away from this today myself as well. I can't wait. So look, I mean, we just want to get to the real nitty gritty of
sure.
Dylan Bradshaw here now. So a few short answered questions here. One word answers. Who is your hairdressing muse?
Quite a few over the years, but it's the one that stands to me all the time that it's Guido by far. He for me encapsulates everything from creative, from say a photo shoot to catwalk, even to a haircut, you know. And so to get all that full circle. There's a lot of good guys, but for me, he's the guy who's just perfection for me. And I really got switched on to him, you know, 20 years ago. Really got switched on to him when he did a lot of the McQueen shows. Yeah. And that was I suppose, the enlightening moment for me about this guy. I just thought, and since then I've followed everything he's done, to the point that I've copied or, you know, done my version of whatever it is, because he inspires you, you know. Yeah, he's influenced hugely. Sam McKnight, I'm very lucky I got to work with him a long time ago. A very nice guy. I've actually, to the point now that I kind of met him, I've been in his company judging competitions in the UK. And he's an absolute gentleman. And I have to say, he was like one of those guys as well that I was inspired by for a very long time. So yeah, I think those two guys are my...
Really good guy actually as well. Favourite decade?
Yeah, it's so funny when you say the 80s, it only seemed like it was yesterday. And now everybody's starting to go, oh, I went down to a vintage store and I got 80s clothes. They're going to... Such a kick in the balls, isn't it? Excuse my French there. But yeah, so 80s was kind of funny, purely because we hadn't got a clue what we were doing or what we were wearing half the time.
Okay, the 80s. Favourite holiday?
Anything with my family, to be honest.
Okay, very good. Mac or PC?
Neither. I'm totally...
Technophobe.
I'm a technophobe, exactly.
Yeah. Favourite food?
Oh God, that's a toughie. So who's your favourite child?
Aren't you?
Yeah, I love food, yeah. And I cook a lot as well, so... Anything at the moment, fresh. Anything fresh.
Anything fresh.
Anything fresh.
Okay. So listen, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us anyway on the couch as an informal interview. So listen, we're going to go live. If you haven't got your ticket already, we are going live at 11 o'clock, so you can purchase your ticket now and see Dylan do the new shag. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.